everybody, Rick Miller here with His Capital Group, and I am here with the CEO of this incredible organization, Feeding Children Everywhere, David Green.
Yeah, it's great to be here today, and you guys, we're here on a very special day. We're actually packaging 300,000 meals for Sudanese refugees who have fled across the border into northern Uganda, who are only getting about 30% of the food that they need to survive. So the meals being packaged today are going to be a part of a life-saving work there. Let's take a look and see a little bit more about how this goes. What you see behind us is people who are part of Hunger Project, which is a high-energy, hands-on volunteer experience. Volunteers are packaging a meal that consists of lentils, rice, dehydrated vegetables, pink Himalayan salt. The meal is incredibly healthy, it's very well balanced, and it's culturally received all around the world.
So let me ask you a quick question. Obviously, you're talking about packaging millions of meals a year. That is what you guys do here. So when you put something together like this, how do you guys determine where you're going to send the food?
Well, over the last 8 years, we've actually packaged just over 100 million meals. And the way that we determine where the meals will go is based on existing partners that we have, but also it relies on the corporate partner themselves or the university or school, faith-based partner. The first choice that we give people is whether they want meals to stay in the local community or if they have a heart to send meals to one of our international destinations, right? So local community could be through one of our distribution programs, it could be through backpack programs, food pantries, community organizations. When we send food internationally, it can be attached to education, orphan care, women's health, economic development, or disaster response. We did a huge effort towards the end of last year to respond to the hurricanes. Anytime there's a big natural disaster, we have this platform. We can mobilize volunteers quickly so we can respond to a crisis really well.
So why don't you show us a little bit of where the warehousing is, how you guys set things up so that we can understand how you make this big organization impact and at the same time, store all of this food.
Right, yeah, I'd love to. So over on this side of our warehouse, we have a lot of the raw materials that come in. A great example would be pink Himalayan salt. Now I know when we eat out at restaurants, occasionally we'll go to a restaurant that has pink Himalayan salt, but I don't know if you've ever seen a 25 bag of pink Himalayan salt, but this is what it looks like. And literally this ships all the way over from the Himalayas. It's a very nutritious salt. It's not chemically processed the way that normal table salt is. Okay. It's packed with nutrition. It's actually loaded with minerals. So it's an important part of adding a nutritional component to the meals. Not just nutritional, but especially when people are suffering from, starvation types of conditions. Some of the ingredients in the salt are actually really important specifically for people in that situation. So it gives the meal a great flavor, but it's really important from a nutrition standpoint as well.
Awesome. And so what are some of the other things that you guys ultimately store here?
This is what a 2,000-pound pallet of lentils looks like. Lentils are a really important part of some of our meals because they're a superfood packed with protein. In the meals that we'll be sending today to the refugees, each serving has 15 grams of protein. So to be able to get 15 grams of protein in a small amount of space is really, really important when you're trying to fight malnutrition.
Absolutely.
Lentils have been, they've been cultivated all around the world. So whether we're sending food to Latin America or Southeast Asia or Africa or even right here in the United States, it's something that is culturally recognized all over the world, which is another important piece of what we do. I'll show you one of our other main ingredients, which is actually, this is where we see what a pallet of rice looks like, but I didn't know until I started doing humanitarian work that the United States actually has its own rice belt. So we actually get our rice from some family farms in the Louisiana area, and this is an important part of what we do. The rice is an important part of several of our different recipes.
And how much food would you say that you actually store here on a regular basis? I mean, I know you're constantly deploying, but...
Yeah, I would say, we have 5 regional warehouses around the country, and I would say in our warehouses, we always have combined between the warehouses anywhere between 2 million and say maybe 4.5 million meals worth of food at any given time.
One thing I was going to ask you, I know that you do a lot of projects, so you get to see a lot of things, but this particular trip to Sudan really moved you, and it's moved me a lot as well in our meetings and working together, which is why we're packaging 300,000 meals and scheduling a trip to go out there.
Yeah.
Could you share with everybody kind of what is it that happened that really moved you on this trip?
Right. Well, we studied as a team at Feeding Children Everywhere. We studied where the greatest need was in the world, and we identified that the refugee crisis, with refugees leaving South Sudan into northern Uganda, that was one of the biggest needs that we could respond to this year as an organization. So we talked to a lot of our partners. We tried to find out the best ways to get food there, and ultimately found a partner on the ground in Uganda that could help us get food into the refugee settlements. So you and I had talked about it, and I just knew, that this was the kind of thing that I needed to go in person to make sure that this work was a work that the food was going to get where it was supposed to go, but then also that it was going to have the impact that we were looking for. And so I got on the plane, I flew there, and I had no idea what I was going to experience when I got there. And it was a life-changing trip for me to go there and see firsthand when you go into a refugee settlement where, total 1.4 million refugees, but each settlement has anywhere between 30 and 45,000 people living in it. And these are people who they left comfortable lives. Many of them, they're college educated, or they had successful businesses, teachers, attorneys. They basically, their homes were destroyed, family members lost. They walked across the border into northern Uganda, and then with 35 to 40,000, 50,000, 45,000 people from their people group, they now just live in a field, basically, in northern Uganda, where there was no city, there was no anything, and they're living in primitive structures in a field. They get about 30% of the food they need to survive. They wander through the wilderness during the day, picking leaves off of plants to try to just get something in their stomachs to survive.
Because of the hunger pain, basically.
And because of the hunger pain, right. And so there's almost no education available, there's almost no health care available, and so what that leads to also is no economic opportunity at the same time. So really, the way we could look at it is a dependency model where we show up there and we just keep bringing food, or more of a comprehensive plan, which is what we're trying to do, where of course we need to send food to people who are starving, but at the same time we're also going to come in and we're going to help them to put in place entrepreneurship programs and really create ultimately long-term self-sufficiency for the people who are living in those areas. They just need our help, and with just somebody believing in them and supporting them, they do have a chance to be self-sufficient in that area.
Yeah, what I'm really excited about is not only the repackaging, the food's going out there, but I believe, like you said, the next level is trying to find a way to really make an impact long-term, not just constantly throwing something into a hole that we're not filling. So I'm excited about the mastermind we're going to do out there with some of the entrepreneurs to come up with ideas of how to create that stability, try to give them opportunities, give them a hand up instead of a hand out. And I'm really excited about that. So for those of you who want to literally live with purpose, we want to challenge you. Don't just exist. Take action, make a difference in the lives of other people. I'm telling you, it'll change your life.
Now, we would love your help working with the South Sudanese refugees in northern Uganda. We'd love the help of your business, your whole community, your faith-based group, your university, your school. But one person can be the catalyst that makes all of that happen, so we need you.